to them. Fingertip to painted lip, she sways away. Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan. This is James, and today we're going to talk about Pete Buttigieg taking shots at Bernie and Trump, whether he knows it or not. These are shots taken. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box, and the website is in the intro to this video. Somewhere in this area. That blue screen you see, that's the intro. Yeah. This thing right here. See. Yeah, right there. That's where you see the website at. Also, in the description box, GoFundMe account for Devon's Journey to Recovery. Click that link, donate, and then have a smile. Yeah. Alright, so someone on Twitter sent me this. Well, he sent me the CNN version. Someone recording with their phone, watching on the TV. Bootleg version. But I managed to find the actual video. And actually, I'm just going to let you guys hear it. This is Pete Buttigieg, and I believe the question's about income equality. So I'll let him play the question and all that shit. Here you go.
Hi, my name is Noah. I'm from Hollisburg High School. Recently, unemployment has been down and the economy has been relatively well, but median wages generally haven't been increasing. And I know it's a very complex issue, but as president, what would you do to increase or to address increasing income inequality?
Yeah, it's a huge.
So I think it's a little tough to hear. They're outside. They got the wind blowing. He basically asked, there's a problem with income equality. What would you do about the minimum wage? And the overall question is about income inequality. So here's Mayor Pete, Mr. Pete.
It's actually, depending how you count, been going on really since the dawn of the Reagan era, right? So there's this saying, "A rising tide lifts all boats." It's kind of the justification for trickle-down economics. And what we've seen is the rising tide rose, like the economy got better, the numbers got better, but 90% of Americans didn't see their income budge. Not when you control for inflation. So I actually think that's part of why we are where we are politically. It's not intuitive because it got us a government that's actually making it even worse. But I think the sense of anger and disaffection that comes from seeing that the numbers are fine, like unemployment's low, like all that, like you said, GDP is growing, and yet a lot of neighborhoods and families are living like this recovery never even happened. They're stuck. It just kind of turns you against the system in general, and then you're more likely to want to vote to blow up the system, which could lead you to somebody like Bernie, and it could lead you to somebody like Trump. I think that's how we got where we are. So,
And that's the part people had a problem with, right? Seeing this economic downfall for normal families will cause people to act erratically and irrationally to where they end up voting for someone that will blow up the system like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. And that is a shot at Bernie Sanders and Trump, obviously. It's these guys are not the right solution. You guys are just emotional right now, and you're looking for anything to buck the system. So you're gonna pick someone who wants free healthcare and free college and all that, and forgiving student debt. You're gonna pick someone like that because you're irrational right now. You're in your emotions. You're not thinking logically, and it's just irrational. Free healthcare for everyone's irrational. That's how we got to the shithole we're in now, because we picked guys like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders because they want to blow the system up. Yeah, I believe the word that was going around was centrist Democrat. I think that's how people were describing him after they heard this. It's like, oh, he's not really a progressive. He's a centrist. And we'll rely on the system we already have. We won't bother changing anything. We'll just make small adjustments to what we already have. And we sort of pointed that out already in our one video. We got shit for it, but we pointed it out. I thought you were going to say something. So, yeah. So, there's also people, as much as they're shitting on, there's people that are like, what did you say that was wrong? And I think those are people that are focusing on him talking about, yeah, the GDP and the numbers went up, but the lower classes, they still were struggling. If you account for inflation, their paychecks were still the same. There's no growth for them. That's the part where it's like people are like, yeah, yeah. And then it becomes the problem when you start, first of all, when you compare Trump to Sanders, right? Those are two different worlds. Sanders is much more policy driven. He's drawn it out. He showed you, even used like a Koch brothers study to show you that in 10 years, Medicare for all will actually be cheaper than the system we already have. That sounds like someone who's drawn out the policy, crunched the numbers, and laid something out for everyone. And I'm sure he's the same with free college and all this shit. He probably wants to take down the military budget by a lot. It should be. But Trump was this. What was Trump? A lot more willy-nilly. A lot more help the billionaire class, help the millionaire class. I think he fits more in that camp. So when Trump's on a stage saying, "Oh, the economy's growing, there's more jobs than ever, or there's less unemployment under me," it's like, then Mr. Pete would be okay. Then he'd be correct. But the point with Trump was that he wasn't really working to fix the system, fix policy, in order to help these smaller families, these lower income families. And I think Bernie actually is. So he basically just shit on any type of populist movement and just wants the business suit class to take over. I actually read an article about him, about his record in South Bend. And what I read, I don't know if it's true or not, and I'm also not an expert, but what I read was he likes to run his government in a, I don't know what the word would be, technocratic type of way, statistical type of way, to where he looks at, how do we fix this? And he crunches numbers out to fix it, rather than, oh, these people are hurt, let me go help. Which is why, as people were saying, I don't know if it's true or not, which is how, like, the homeless, like the very, very, very low income were like ignored in his thing, because he crunched the numbers and saw, well, there's more people that are better off now, rather than looking at the 5 guys that got left out. Obviously exaggerating, but you know what I mean? Where it's like, we're only taking care of 5 out of 10 people. Mayor Pete comes in like, see, now we're taking care of 7 out of 10 people. It's like, well, what about those 3 other people that are left out? But the numbers say we're doing better. I win. I don't know. So that was my opinion on all this sayings and all this shit, everything he said here. Now let's look at the bigger political picture. This might have screwed him over pretty badly. I mean, the New York Times article that we went over, to where he's like meeting up with particular types of Democrats, secret dinners, secret meetings, in order to take down Bernie Sanders. It's like, all right, his name was mentioned once in that article, and it's like somewhere near the bottom, and it could have been hidden away. But this one's like getting shared over, and this clip right here is getting shared over and over again on Twitter from big name people on Twitter. Not big name, not corporate names, but Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kalinske, those types. Those guys are sharing it and liking it, and then people are commenting on it and more retweeting of it. And so that whole progressive thing, people that like to stick to the progressive movement, and they see the progressive guys retweeting this out and commenting on it, those are the people that he's going to lose. And I think that's the people he had in the first place. People that didn't look in the policy, but was like, he's nice, he speaks well, he went to Harvard, he has a Rhodes Scholarship, he's gay, He's this, he's that. He's just a normal small town guy, Mayor Pete. Just call him Mayor Pete, like the principal or some shit. Those are the guys that are going to be like, oh no, he said this. And the Bernie fans are going to let him know it too. That's my assessment. You got anything?
Hmm?
Do you have anything to say?
Well, anybody that believes in this guy, is bought into the lie that these people care about you. Anybody that actually, is actually pandering to the idea of this guy actually getting elected into office is somewhat of a idiot.
Well, we went over his policy and we showed like this isn't progressive. This is not progressive. Maybe
I'm trying to, I mean to be mean when I say idiot, but it's a form of ignorance where it's just so bad to the point where it's like now you're going to affect someone else's life.
Yeah.
They don't care about you. They don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can read mine and say Bernie Sanders cares about other people's lives because he fucking was advocating for somebody who was going to put no-fly zones. That effectively, that's like a no shit. Like someone's going to die, and you're supporting them. But this guy doesn't care.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, he wouldn't be a good candidate in my book. He could care and just think, well, the centrist way is the way to go.
So then it's an ignorant form of care.
And here's the thing: when Mayor Pete says, "This is how we got to where we're at," when he says that, it's like we've never really had in my mind, a true progressive as president in the first place. So we don't even fucking know.
It's like a shallow idea of love. Like, I love you. Like, do you? Do you really?
Yeah.
You know what that is? Oh, no. Why are you saying it? You don't know what it means.
Yeah, Trump was also a question
Don't fucking
mark.
say you're trying to go for the people. I'm trying to help the people. I'm friendly. I'm young. I'm gay. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
That's the identity politics stuff.
So whenever I hear someone saying, as far as his policies, they're not important. It's like, what the hell? The hell?
Well, they were saying it's not important to people. I'm like, you're fucking tripping. Are you paying attention to what people are saying right now? It's become a tagline to say, Beto, why do you have these empty platitudes?
So
That's like a saying
So
about
is it
him.
now that as far as are you saying a mass majority now is saying fuck this guy?
A mass majority of people who are active, who talk. People who aren't talking or quiet.
Well, they're late.
I'm just shopping.
Well, they're
It's
late.
time to vote? Okay, I'll go vote.
Well, they're late.
They're not paying it. I don't think they're paying attention, period. And they all they have is identity politics.
You gotta listen to one.
If you don't have policy, all you can look at is identity politics.
Oh, you're not
What they
showing
look
your
like.
you're not showing your policy. You're being incredibly vague. Can't trust you. Get out.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
Don't come back
Yeah.
until you have everything in order. That
Yeah.
might be probably for a long time.
Yeah. And there's
It's really easy. This is simple.
nothing vague about Bernie Sanders.
Yes, there is.
There's nothing vague about as far as what they're running on. What are they running on?
Why was he silent on the whole Assange thing?
That's not vague. That's just not saying anything.
Well, that tells me as far as the future of people whistleblowing. Like, what's your stance on that?
I'm talking when Bernie Sanders
I don't like
says
it.
something.
I don't like it when he calls somebody else a dictator.
When Bernie Sanders says something,
What?
he's pretty detailed about it.
Mm.
We're sure where he's going, except for the things everyone thinks he fucked up on, which is minor things. Everything else he's
Calling Assad a dictator is minor.
minor as in the amount of it. It's like, here's one thing, here's two things, and here's 100 things where he's fully detailed on. That makes sense?
It does, but it's not what I'm looking at.
You're looking morally. I'm looking at he's constantly has a full detailed with what he's going with policy. He lays out plans even before he's president. He's like, we could do this. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. So, not really vague. Bernie Sanders, not really vague. Tulsi Gabbard, not really vague. Mike Gravel, definitely not fucking vague at all on anything, I don't think.
You might be the only one that I actually trust. I haven't heard that much, so I can't really say that. But as far as someone that's like, I somehow intuitively believe that you're genuine. The other two, I don't know.
I think
don't know.
Tulsi's genuine. I
I
also
don't
think
know.
Bernie's genuine. I just think
I don't like when people fold. anywhere.
Yeah, but it might have been done
I don't
genuinely, rather than what I think Mayor Pete would do, which is purposely fold. Like, nope, I can't get Medicare for all. Sorry, guys.
I can't have it.
As opposed to, I tried. I'm still trying, but it's going to be difficult. Like, oh, I think you're actually trying to do this. It's just, you know, you're genuine about your failure. That's what I think. You're in the camp of take no prisoners, right?
Huh?
You're in the camp of take no prisoners.
Not one, ever.
I'm reading it. Just
You're here for everybody or you're done.
What does that to do with being genuine or not? I thought you were talking about someone being genuine.
Yeah.
That's what I'm judging.
I can't have one, not once. It's one thing if it's a past mistake.
Genuine doesn't have to mean they have the right answer.
This is what
Genuine
I mean.
could mean they honestly think this is the way to go.
Sure, but I'm talking about someone that has like everything in order here, you know.
All
Even
right.
if someone, as far as from a moral standpoint of view, like that Gravel guy, may not be intricate, or it may not be, you know, as far as like, well, tell us, you know, what happens if what this happens? Like, I don't know.
He might have an
But we
answer.
gotta have corruption out the window.
He might actually have details.
Well, maybe.
I think he has
But
details.
the point is, whenever I see someone like on The View, yeah, he's a dictator. It's like, oh, you know, leave me alone about that for a while. I want to talk about this other thing. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Or when I see someone else, what'd she say about torture? I didn't like what I heard about torture. And Gabbard.
Yeah, the Indian channel thing.
I don't like what I saw from Bernie as far as calling somebody a dictator and going with the whole Russia narrative. Look, you got time, asshole. You have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone
but,
who doesn't even look into this shit could fucking figure it out.
It's still a little more complicated
I'm sure it is.
because they can say words but vote a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tulsi saying something about torture but voting a complete opposite direction of what she said.
Mm-hmm.
As in, she voted, like, you know, this is bullshit, or against torture. So, you're talking about the mask. You want that to be on point as well. Right? The persona they're letting out there. You don't want them to be like, okay, you can have this point. I want to move on to this. You don't want to even see that.
No, a mask is necessary.
As opposed to...
I think you mean something different.
Well, if they vote one way, if they say, I love torture, and then on TV, and then they go off and they vote, and they're like, against torture, against torture, against torture,
I
against
guess
torture.
you mean a different mask, not them. All right.
Well, one's speaking words, one is how their policies are actually moving. Granted, those words are important. They're very important. So I understand what you're saying. It's just bigger picture. Bigger picture. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add about Mayor Pete?
If it took you this long, then you should have you should be looking at yourself in the mirror to figure out this guy isn't the person to look to as some sort of political leader of any kind.
Yeah.
That's it. If you disagree, then, you know, I'm not going to fucking argue. I already said it, so. You can go back under the rock you came out of, you know.
Alright, whatever. Alright, that's it from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment if you feel like. Donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. Link in the description box. Please donate. Click on the link. Read the story. See what's going on. Check the updates. Check on Devon and one of our subscribers, Pyramid 7. They need help paying medical bills because we don't have free healthcare. Yeah. So please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. Link down there. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.